It's scary because there's so many different ways that people can escape that are very dangerous. Booze, alcohol, drugs. But if you read a book, it's almost like your problems kind of melt away almost, even for a little while. There's kids from Philly who had a very difficult life, and then you have some kids who didn't have it as difficult as they did, and here they are with these predispositions towards them, and they just start talking to them through this book, and you find out that it's almost like everybody's the same, you just have different circumstances.
I'm Grayson, and I am from Tualatin, Oregon.
I'm Declan, and I'm from Tualatin too. Brothers.
And we got into some bad decisions, and mainly the firearms and stuff like that. And then there was some robbing and theft.
It's pretty much the same thing for me, but we just got caught at different times. No, we did it together, but just got caught.
I got in trouble with the law when I was a juvenile, and I stole cars, and I was beating up people and stealing from stores.
Half my life I grew up with a father, and then the sad thing is when I wanted to go find him, try to message him, or just find out how he is, I found out that he killed himself.
My parents split up when I was around, I think I was about 10.
Yeah. I think when they split, I was 3rd grade, 4th grade, probably 8 or 9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did it affect you guys at all?
At first, I think, but I think we got over it pretty fast.
2 Christmases.
Yeah.
So that was pretty hard.
I wasn't around a lot of people that read. And my dad didn't read, because my dad wasn't around either, so I really didn't know my dad. My mom was always having trouble, so she was always trying to pay bills and all that. I never really knew my family like that. I was always outside, staying out late, passing my curfew, getting into trouble and all that. So I never really picked up a book as a young kid. School, I never really did good in school either. I failed a lot. I got suspended, and teachers, I really didn't go along with teachers that well.
I used to live in a shelter when I was in 2nd grade with my sister and my mom. So we went to the library every day. But then when we picked up the books, we moved to another state. So when I came back, I could not get any books from the library in Philly, because it was I had $100 and something fine, and my mom did not have money for that. She didn't have enough money to feed us.
And nobody in my family has ever gone to college or graduated from high school.
I used to never touch books. And my uncle, I live with my uncle, so he was always like, "Why don't you go read a book?" I was like, "What? What's a book?"
All of our kids are pending some sort of legal matter, and the judge has deemed them not ready to be at home, but they need somewhere to go, and Oregon law says we want to use the least restrictive means necessary. So basically, we don't want them locked up in detention if they don't need to be behind 4 concrete walls and the locking door. We want to see them in their community and give them opportunities in their community to show that they can either return or do they need a higher level of care?
The Children's Home of Easton is a really, it's a great place. It's a place where we provide a continuum of care for children who, for one reason or another, can't live at home right now. And these kids have seen a lot of trauma in their lives. Some of them have experienced abuse. Some of them have experienced neglect. And for one reason or another, they find that, they can't live at home. And they have to come to a place where it's safe for them, where they can begin to turn their lives around, and where they can basically begin to achieve what they're capable of achieving. And that kind of led us to the book club idea, because so many of our kids have come to us, and school has not really been a great place for them. And a lot of times kids who struggle with personal emotions and are going through turbulence in their lives don't perform well in school. But that doesn't mean they're not capable of it.
Screw the lid off the tube. Inside a thick or ointment with a pigment smell. A combination of tar and pine needles. I wrinkle my nose as I squeeze a glob of medicine onto my hand and begin to massage it into my leg. The sound of pleasure slips out of my mouth as the stuff eradicates my itching. It also stains my scabby skin as ghastly gray green. As I start on the second leg, I toss the tube to Finch, whose eyes me doubtfully.
During group reading, the environment's safe enough to where they can definitely say their opinion, and it can be challenged by another classmate, and definitely challenged by me a lot. But with that, they're starting to understand that they can challenge each other, and they can challenge each other respectfully. But the most important thing to me is that they're paying attention, and that they want to challenge each other, and that they own their own beliefs or feelings. And then the most important thing is that they're able to describe that to you and use their words to explain it, and kind of, really challenging the kids for critical thinking and understanding what they're saying and what the author's meaning, and getting some more literary terms in there, foreshadowing and climax and, characters. Some of them don't even know what the word setting has meant when they've came in.
The assignment was like make a story map of it. I had no idea what that meant. So I think they were talking about settings and like characters and like plots, but I put like a map of the area, like where everybody would live.
And we even broke it down to a more specific, we go chapter setting. Where is this chapter taking place? And then breaking it down and comprehending that. So the kids are starting to, a lot of them have said they've never taken notes in class, or they don't even know sometimes what the word comprehension means, even though that they do it. So just allowing them those vocabulary words too. Be able to read everyday things and understand it.
Reading has helped me just like formulate words and just carry on a conversation with people.
Listening to people in the group read too. Like some people at first when they read out loud, they weren't too good at it, but it's weird how fast
pick it up.
Right now I have a lot of books. Like my whole room is filled with books. I got 2 crates full of books, and my whole shelf is filled with books. And I read every time I go to bed.
I'm juggling 4 different books. Like I'm reading Mr. Pip for school. I'm reading the biography of Chuck Yeager in the bathroom. At nighttime, I'm reading The Kremlin by Ken Follett in my room at night. And then I'll just pick up another book in between of that.
Like people don't even know that I read. Like I have 102 in English class. So like the kids in my English class are like, "What, you read?" Because I just don't seem like a kid that read. I'm like, and I'll tell my English teacher, I finished another book yesterday.
Well, I do have one kid who wasn't a reader, but he also wasn't doing very well. He wasn't doing very well in his therapy. He wasn't doing well with his home relations. He just wasn't doing well, and we probably weren't going to keep him. We were probably going to need to take him to a place where he could get more treatment. He couldn't sleep one night, so I said, will you try a book? Just try a book. So I gave him a book to read, and he said, I really like that book. I said, oh, I got 3 or 4 more with the same author. Boom, he latched on. And the next thing you know, the family is commenting, we're noticing something's a little different. His counselor, it might just be working, he says. You know, like that we might have turned a corner here. So do I think books were the reason why this happened? No, but I do think that contributed to a more positive attitude or whatever, not thinking that things aren't as hopeless.
You can have like Mark, who's a socialite, and then Justin, who's a lot of times antisocial. And they'll come together and we'll just start talking about this one book and it'll just connect us. And it's great because like once you have like a common denominator that connects a varied group of people, so many other things start to connect.
Well, you know what? If everybody's seen the movie, I guess maybe we don't have to have our next meeting being a showing of the movie. I thought maybe we would sort of introduce it in case you hadn't read the book or seen the movie.
I didn't see like.
I never saw the movie.
I didn't see the whole. No,
I never saw the party at all.
Everybody saw the movie. Everybody saw the movie.
Is this her only books? Are these her only books?
Yes.
Well, no, she has another book. I don't know the exact title of it, but it was pretty good. It kind of like was based off. I think that the Hunger Games series was based off of that one, because it kind of was like it, but wasn't.
So she was trying out characters or whatever. I love that. Whenever I read a book from a well-published author, and then I find it. On the way home, they did not stop talking from the time we got in the car until the time we pulled in here about the differences between the book and the movie. And I just thought that was awesome. They were talking about girls, they were cursing, they weren't listening to their iPods, which they brought. They were talking for an entire, 35 minutes maybe from there to here, about the differences, the things that were left out of the plot line, whether it made a difference. I was blown away. They were comparing and contrasting The Maze Runner to The Hunger Games. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I absolutely couldn't. And they were talking in very specific terms, and I just thought, this is unreal. Can this be happening?
What we do here is we come once a week and we read about 20 pages or so of a book that I guess Judith's reading room picks or Marlene picks, I forget. What we try to do is we try to connect it with what's going on with us.
Other people can understand the same thing I understand. Like if I read something, or even if I want to understand something, then they can explain it to me in a better way so I can understand it.
If you're with a bunch of like dumb druggies, you're probably not going to learn a whole lot, but if you're with like, I know, a group of smart people that are always like pushing you to do better and like, I know, sharing their knowledge with you, then you're going to get smarter, I think.
And I think I thought it was kind of cool, that there's people that you chat about books like you would talk about the NBA,
You don't have to put on a facade, put on an act to show like you're this big tough kid, and no, we're all here for the same reason. We're just reading.
Many of these books, it kind of helps me throughout like my life problems.
A book could change a kid's mind because like they have another offset, but then they read about people like them, so they're not all alone. Like, you know what I mean? They're not all alone. They know people are like them. They see stuff that could happen to them, positives, negatives. They learn about life.
I got so enveloped in the character that it's almost like I would be the character. And I would experience what that character was experiencing, just instead of reading it, I was the character. Like the main character I really connected with was Brian, and I think it's Brian in the Hatchet series. Okay. Just the fact that he wasn't coming from like the greatest of families. It's like his family broke up, and he saw his father with another woman, and that really hit him hard. And like he's thinking about this while he's up in Canada, and he's starving, and I was just, I don't know, I guess I empathized with him because like here he was in this impossible situation, but he still kept going. He still had to live. He still had to go on. And he took the, I guess he took what he had at hand and he made do with it to survive. Sometimes I kind of look up to him, or the character, if somebody could do that. When I came here, it was completely different from back home. Like, even that back home was stressful. Like, this was a whole nother level of stress. So when I read these books, it provided me like another avenue of escape.
It helps like expand your mind when you read like the different points of views, different aspects of life, like different personas that you wouldn't think of yourself.
The more you read, the larger your universe becomes. And you can dream because you know that other things exist other than your very, very small, like 10-block area.
The road we were kind of heading on was like just getting steeper and steeper, and like I just didn't really think twice before I did anything, and like I don't know, someone could have gotten killed or something, like whether that was us or someone that came in front of us.
Where I'm from, like, and to be cool, you gotta go out there and start fights. You gotta break cars, windows. You gotta like start fights with young kids, bully them, and all that. Cause I got anger problems, and I got ADHD. I take medicine for it. I still do, but I would come in. I'll probably punch a wall. Like, you can see on my hands, it's full of marks. I'll probably punch on walls or throw something around or start cursing at people. Instead, I learn how to read and all that. I'm good at reading. I'll come in, I'll take a book. I barely watch TV, I just read books. I'm here now, I'm trying to turn to better, like, do better things. So reading books, like, it just changed my life.
A lot of people say books aren't important or books aren't all that they're meant out to be, but if you have like as many cultures as there were trying to burn books, I mean, I'd say they're pretty important. They display a powerful message.
Like no matter what you do, you're always reading something. Like whether you're driving and you have to read signs, or you're in school and have to read a book. It's just like life, or like no matter what job you do in the future, you're gonna have to read something.
Today you can't even work at Home Depot without a diploma, which is sad. And all the factory jobs are gone. And it's like, well, this is what you have to do.
I want to go back to school when I leave here. I'm leaving January 3rd, so I'm going to go back to school, finish out, get my diploma. And then I'm not sure like what college or when I'm going to start college, but I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but what I've been thinking about is like psychology and sociology, like human resources, that kind of stuff.
But do you have a career in mind with that?
Something like I kind of like a staff, like here.
Like, I'm going to Penn State, which is really exciting for me.
Well, I start DeSales University in August for a major in TV film.
2 years of community college, and then I'm going to transfer over to Temple for my law degree, bachelor degree.
I want to get my GED, and then I want to go to community college, and then go maybe to a university or something, because I want to be a drug and alcohol counselor.
Reading is definitely important if you want to go to school. If you don't read, you're not going to get anywhere.
I'm definitely going to continue reading, and it's going to probably help me a lot, especially through college.
Reading is a formative part of obliterating poverty around the world. Because if you can't read, you basically can't get a job, you can't apply for a job, you can't get a driver's license. Kids who can't read anything. If you want to be in the theater, you can't read a play if you can't read. So to pull people out of poverty and generational poverty, it is essential that they read.